This is a WKYT podcast.
Good Friday afternoon and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, things in between. I'm Milam, Dave Baker. We have got one of the most power-packed sports weekends.
Come on, let's go.
And sports weeks of the year, and also some bad news, some interesting news that we've received over the last hour or so. But let's get to basketball first. UK U of L, that is the game everybody wants to know about, talk about, can't wait for, because it's the first time in a long time these two teams, Louisville comes in with a real chance to win.
Is it just me, though, because the guy with the floppy hair, that Jurich guy, and the Patino guy?
Didn't take you long.
No, that they aren't there anymore. I mean, it doesn't seem like the visceral emotion is there as it has been. I mean, it's going to be a great game. And for Kentucky fans that have longed for a great game in Rupp Arena, they're going to have that. So the atmosphere is going to be electric. But it just doesn't seem to me, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's Christmas week, it just doesn't seem to be as toxic to me, and that's a good thing.
Well, it's, for years it was Denny Crum and Joe B. Hall, and then it became Rick Pitino, who moved in with Tubby, and then Calipari and whatnot. So it seems like there is not the hatred, because Chris Mack stays out of the way. I want to coach my team.
Love me some Chris Mack. He don't take no stuff from Mick Cronin. And that's a big one in my book.
Yeah, the X-Man who goes to Louisville. So,
but I mean, he's a really good coach. Done a nice job with his team.
Certainly. We're going to take your questions, comments on Facebook Live, if I can make sure this thing works properly. But let's talk about the ball game. Kentucky has lost 2 in a row. They went to Las Vegas and did not get it done against Utah, did not get it done against Ohio State, and now you've got a Louisville team which has been ranked number 1. Oh, yeah, Kentucky's been ranked number 1. Neither team handled it well.
Right.
And both teams may be searching for themselves a little bit.
A little bit. I haven't had time to look and see. I bet Chris Bailey will know. See if he knows this question. Any idea what the spread is? Any idea what the spread is? See, I knew he'd know. I haven't had a chance to look yet, but whatever the spread is, if you're doing anything for entertainment purposes, I would go with the under, because both of these teams here recently have had trouble putting the ball in the basket.
And, they have.
And here's the thing, and this worries you from a Kentucky standpoint, as poorly as they've been shooting, Louisville comes in 3rd in the nation in field goal percentage defense. And, I mean, they have just been locking people up in every field goal percentage category. They play that pack line defense.
Yep.
And, they're not going to take chances out front. And as the name suggests, they're going to pack it in and make you hit outside shots. When they ran into Texas Tech up in the Garden, a future UK opponent, that happened. And Texas Tech got hot and got the tempo going a little bit, and that took Louisville from the ranks of number 1.
So what about Kentucky, though? We've seen Kentucky pass the ball so well, and Cal brags on how well this team passes, how well they get along on the court. And then all of a sudden, it goes away. And the passing is not there. The outside shooting, other than the Lamar game when they were, I think, hit 10 threes, Kentucky has been average to below average from outside. Johnny Juzang was brought in to be the guy.
Yeah.
He's 2 for 18, 19,
2 for
20,
December.
something like that. Ashton Hagans has improved, but is still not that elite shooter. Emmanuel Quickley has not done it. If not for Nate Sestina against Ohio State, I'm afraid to see what that score would have been.
I think Hagans had, I was just looking at the Louisville and Kentucky notes before I came down. I think Hagans had 11 last year. Quickly had like 2 points. E.J. Montgomery had a couple of points. And I mean, that's kind of it. There certainly has been some inconsistency. And that happens when you have a young team, and that's not an excuse. That's just what it is. But I think based on what John Calipari himself told us before the season began, there has been more inconsistency than I think fans and those of us in the media have expected. I don't think this is unrealistic expectations. And you were over there at Cal's deal. I was upstairs watching it on the feed and doing some other stuff. He's a master at taking pressure off his team and saying, hey, this is me. I haven't done a good enough job. And then at the end of the answer, he gets right around to, but at some point in time, you got to win. I can't fight for you, I think is what I heard him say today.
And as he has said, demonstrated performance will get you the confidence. You could talk about it all day long. We hear players in every sport say, hey, we are going to be this and we're going to be that. This, and as Bill Parcells would say, your record says
you are who your record says you are, right?
And your stats are what your stats are most of the time. And so, but Louisville in this game, Kentucky in this game, over the last, let's just bring it in from the Pitino era.
Okay.
It has been a dogfight. It's been a back alley brawl. It has been muddied water.
I forget who said it's been a rock fight. Is what it's been.
It has been.
I mean, from DeMarcus Cousins going on that floor.
Oh, that was great.
And having to have Doug Shows pull him off somebody. I mean, that's what this game is all about. And that, to me, sure, there have been great players, but that, to me, is the reason Kentucky is 10-2 against Louisville under Cal, and they have not lost to the Cardinals here at Rupp Arena.
And those 2 wins by Louisville by a total of 6 points. 3 points and 3 points. And one of those was with one of UK's worst teams under Calipari also, the
sure,
NIT
absolutely.
ball club.
And then Donovan Mitchell had the great game for Louisville. And so, you know, but I think this game is about, people talk about execution. This game is about aggressiveness.
It's going to be tight.
And it's about being physical. And early on, whoever dictates that part of the game, I think is going to have a big leg up.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how it's officiated because, you know, as Nate Sestina said earlier today in the one-on-one interviews, he said it's going to be chippy. It's a national rival here. The whole country is going to be focused on Lexington for 2.5 hours on Saturday afternoon. And for a team which Calipari has said needs to fight. I mean, he said it so much.
Right.
I mean, at some point it's got to sink in. Kentucky has got to get physical in the post, and they have to rebound. And Ohio State, I mean, you want to talk about hitting the heavy bag. Ohio State was going body shot,
right.
and you know Louisville's going to do the same thing. How will UK respond to that?
And that's the way Chris Mack's teams always have kind of been. I mean, they haven't been big brute, but who's that guy? Steinman or whoever he was. Remember the guy that had the glasses? He looked like one of the Hanson brothers a couple of years ago, and he was like their enforcer. And I mean, that guy could shoot from outside, and they called him the Stain Train. I forget what his last name was, but I mean, this guy could play from outside. He'd go in there and rough it up. He'd use his 5 fouls, and nobody should go out and fight. But I mean, has there been an official that separated a Kentucky player from anybody yet this year?
Not this year.
Nobody's gotten warned about a hard foul or anything like that. I mean, you got to go out and put your sword into ground.
Yeah, Kenny Payne, I was right next to the bench of the Ohio State game, and one of the players, and I want to say it was Nick, came back and said, he said, you've got to hit that guy. Now, he doesn't mean physically punch him in the mouth, but you've got to get physical. It's got to be your basketball. And if Kentucky is to win, they've got to get the balls around the rim that are dancing around, the Cedric Jenkins tip-in from 87. They've got to be in the area to give themselves a chance to at least get an outside shot. It's going to be about defense. It's going to be about putting the ball in the hole for UK. How will UK defend against a team known for defense?
For people that don't know, you played collegiate baseball and played it well.
Allegedly.
Stop it. And there were certain games and certain teams that you went into the matchup.
Oh, yeah.
And you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And the first time somebody looked at you.
Austin P. I have not forgotten it. I've got the scar on the inside of the ankle to prove it. Don't wake me up, man. Still got the.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those kind of games. Again, nothing dirty, but I mean, this is the kind of game where you got to go out, and whether you're an 18-year-old kid or not, this is a man's game on a man's stage. This is big boy basketball right here. And Cal, everybody trusts. I get that. I'm all good with that. But at some point in time, somebody has just got to come through with one of those games, and everybody says, where has this guy been?
I've just gone into a 20-second fog thinking of Nate Manning taking me out at second base, and I'd take the ball and jab it right in his gut. You've got me going now, man.
Did either one of you get ejected?
No, but
see, that's the point.
I got the bat going, though.
But that's the point. It got everybody in the dugout going and everything.
Man, I hated Austin P.
Stop it.
Still struggle with those guys. Anyway, also, let's make a who do you think wins? Score. I think it's going to be mid-60s.
I think it's an incredibly low-scoring game. I really do.
It was 58-50 that one year when Willie Cauley got the dunk and Montrezl Harrell, I think, flopped, and
Chris Bailey would also know this, what the odds are, but I'd be shocked if Doug Shows wasn't one of those guys that's calling the game tomorrow. This is a Doug Shows kind of game, though. You got that physical presence and everything. I mean, I think Kentucky wins in a low-scoring game. But I am telling you, if they do not, and when I say physical, it's not just bodying somebody up or not giving up a free layup, but you got to be willing to go in the lane and draw some contact and get to the rim. because Mack and those guys, they will be more than content until you knock down about 5 or 6 in a row, which nobody's done but Sestina and Tyrese Maxey against Michigan State. They will just let you shoot and shoot and shoot. So if you just spot up and shoot and you're not hitting, it could turn into something nasty.
Yeah, Louisville needs to keep Kentucky off the free throw line if they want a chance to win. Kentucky hitting nearly 80% on the season, even though struggled against Ohio State.
And to speak to that, against Ohio State, they were outshot at the free throw line for the first time this year. A bunch, because they didn't take it in there at them.
Let's talk about football quickly.
Sir.
Belk Bowl coming up. UK, Virginia Tech. First time these two have met since 1987 at Old Commonwealth Stadium, with Jerry Claiborne beating one of his schools 14-7.
Right.
Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator. Isn't it interesting? You know the D coordinator much more than the head coach of Tech.
Well,
he's been there 30 years.
He's been there 30 years, and of course, everybody still associates Virginia Tech with Frank Beamer, who went there from Murray State and just retired a few years ago and is loving life and enjoying things. But yeah, I mean, you know, they had to come with a new coach. I think Bud Foster's one of those guys. I don't know that he wanted that head coaching job. He's like a career defensive coordinator, and he loves what he's doing, and he's one of the best in the game.
Well, some people are better being the co-pilot than the pilot, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And you need both of them to fly the plane, right?
Yeah, and it's been a couple of weeks, obviously, since UK beat U of L, 3-4 weeks, whatever it's been. I'm always concerned how a team begins a game. I've always thought for a bowl game, offense has the advantage because, hey, we could put in a month worth of new plays the defense has not seen.
Unless you've got a wide receiver playing quarterback.
Well, but, you know, Eddie Grant has said we're going to do things. Good point.
I'm going to bet that Eddie Grant.
All right, let's go talk about something else. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to bet he didn't waste a lot of time putting in plays.
No, but, you know, we haven't seen a lot of reverses. We haven't seen a lot of flea flickers. We haven't seen a lot of stuff out of UK. But what do you do against a veteran guy? Vatek's going to be ready to go because this is Foster's last game. They want to send him out a winner.
Sure.
If Kentucky wins, the seniors will set a new 4-year record for
How about
wins.
that?
Isn't that something?
That is something.
The 1953 class had 31 wins. That's amazing to think about.
The thing I think that is so interesting about this, and again, I hope a common theme doesn't emerge, but if you're one of those people that occasionally wagers a shekel, I've always said that in college football bowl games, it's the team that wants to be there the most.
That's true. That's true.
Look at yesterday. Louisiana Tech had no business being in the game with a Miami team that scored 50 against Louisville, right? And you saw what happened. The interesting thing to me is I think Virginia Tech and Kentucky both want to be in this game. I think it's going to be a heck of a football game. Every one of Kentucky's bowl games here in recent history been a really good game, and I think we're going to see another really good game in the Belk Bowl.
You know, and I just don't understand why a player wouldn't want to be there. You get to play a game, for some, the final time. Cash Daniel, the final time he's ever going to put on a Kentucky uniform.
It'll be
Bowden.
Yeah, it'll be different for some. Like, how is Alabama going to react not being in the college football playoff for the first time ever? That one will be an interesting one to see. And the football god smiled upon Nick Saban and put Jim Harbaugh on the other side of the field. So that probably won't be an issue.
Oh, my gosh. I want to thank a lot of people who are on Facebook.
Come on, who's on today?
We've got Roosevelt, Chad, we've got Chris. Rachel says, go Cardinals.
Rachel said that?
Yeah, I'm not going to say, Rachel, your last name or where you're from, but yeah.
But you can reach her at 859.
Yeah, that may be, that's a good call. Real quick, want to say thank you to Wayne Sapp, Mr. Perry County himself.
Come on.
A couple of years ago, I put on Facebook something that was very sentimental to me. My grandmother, who's no longer with us, used to have, you know, that old rock candy, the stuff you used to find in dishes. I put it on Facebook, said, you know, I miss my grandmother for a lot of reasons, but certainly this. He drops this off today and has for the last couple of years. So Wayne Sapp, thank you so much. You've made my day. Christmas presents like this is the most important thing to me, not, you know,
I know what you mean.
Not your Armani suits, you know, stuff like that. But stuff like that.
That's our mommy, not our money.
Oh, sorry.
But it obviously, and this inspired one of the great Christmas songs, Dolly Parton and Hard Candy Christmas.
A multi-platinum winner.
I mean, seriously, but I mean, that talked about life in kind of like Appalachian. People didn't have a lot, but they so appreciated what they had. And ain't nothing wrong with a hard candy Christmas.
No,
and sometimes we need that reminder.
Yeah, we do. And Wayne, thank you so much. I'm going to give you a shout out tonight on Game Time.
Come on,
as well.
Wayne.
But bad news. We've got to talk
Looks
about
like
this.
it. Looks like it.
On the surface, this is not good. deals with Walter McCarty at the University of Evansville. You were on the phone just about a half hour ago. What's the latest?
The university announced earlier today that Walter was being placed on leave for a Title IX investigation. That means it can mean a variety of things, but the athletics director, in a story in the Courier Press from over in Evansville, talked about the fact that there had been some off-court issues in terms of behavior that Walter had been counseled about since he got there in March of 2018. I'm told that this has been kind of an ongoing thing, and that this latest incident, which led to the leave being put in place today, took place before the season began. Title IX investigations are obviously very serious. They can entail everything from when the Rice guy was up at Rutgers and was throwing basketballs at players. It can encompass everything from practice behavior to personal behavior off the court, everything from sexual harassment. This is according to Evansville, everything from sexual harassment to stalking to personal conduct about how you treat staffers and students. So we really don't know. They're bringing in a national law firm to conduct the investigation. But this is something that universities shouldn't take lightly. They do not. Everybody in this country is entitled to the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But this is obviously a very serious situation for the university to take this action. And of course, it comes during a season in which Walter came in here and got the win over his old team.
Yeah, so we will monitor that, obviously, because that is, at least on the surface, just doesn't sound good.
It's a serious situation. There's no question about it.
Billy, thank you for joining us also from over in the Moco area.
Moco?
Yeah.
Where's Moco?
You know, Montgomery County.
Oh, Moco.
You know,
I thought it was down by Viper and Talcum and Pigeon Roost down in Perry County.
no, that's Delphia and the boys. You know, got to take Route 7.
Yes.
In between Vico, Leatherwood. You know.
Love Vico, Leatherwood.
I tell you what, I miss the mountains.
No exchange like Vico and Leatherwood.
Leatherwood Wildcats, boys and girls.
Come on, let's go.
But I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas holiday season.
Keep it going.
We still have the New Year's Eve Bowl with UK and Virginia Tech, and what a way to close out 2019. It has been a wild ride of sports,
and before
in all aspects.
Right, and I know this is a love of yours, but let's not forget now all the great high school tournaments that are going on all over the state. The Ashland Invitational is going on right now. I was talking to a friend of mine who is a city slicker here, who was accompanying a team down to a tournament at Belfry tonight.
Oh, the Mountain Schoolboy Classic.
Come on, right? See? I mean, seriously. But there are some great tournaments in boys and girls, and so there is just a ton of great action, a lot of opportunity to see kids get out there and be with each other and forget about all this other junk and
that's right.
Just be kids and teammates.
That's exactly right. And one of my favorite tournaments, just on the surface, just on the name, over in Bath County, the Dan Swartz Classic. Dangerous Dan Swartz, the old Moorhead State Eagle. Just what a guy, what a guy. Anyway.
What if Jim Frazier were here?
Jim Frazier is still working out the kinks with social media, I think, but my guy Jim.
Oh, I thought you were going to say with law enforcement.
No, gosh. No, not as far as I know. But
convictions, no convictions.
That's exactly right. But I want to say thank you to everybody who has watched. We had more than 300. We'll have a lot more.
Did we really?
On the replay. Every time you show up, man.
Stop it. Stop it. It is not that.
But thanks for watching. We're going to get back to work. A lot of stuff to talk about with UK and U of L. You will hear from John Calipari, Chris Mack. Lee K. Howard is down in Charlotte
Mr.
at the
Belk Bowl.
The first wave of everybody going down to the bowl game. He left early this morning. So we will have a lot of sports to talk about.
And he'll have stuff tonight, I think, right, or tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's the big basketball game tonight, right? PJ Washington returns for Charlotte, and there are like 6 UK guys.
3 on the Thunder, 3 on the Hornets. You got Diallo, you've got Nerlens Noel, PJ Washington.
The ex-Cat Billy Donovan there on the OKC bench, right? Back from the early days.
We have got a lot to go over. He still has me juiced about Austin Peay, man. I tell you
the Govs.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, thank you for watching. For Dave Baker, I'm Brian Milam. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we will catch you a little bit later on this evening on WKYT.